2026, calling it racial gerrymandering. First of all, do you agree with that, and what does it mean to South Texas?
Well, it was absolutely racial gerrymandering. In fact, a Republican-appointed, Trump-appointed federal judge agreed with that and wrote a 160-page opinion that not only was the map unconstitutional, that it was gerrymandered based on race, and it was a violation of the Voting Rights Act, Section 2. So now it was stayed in the Supreme Court, and we anticipate a full court hearing in the next 7 to 10 days. And let's get to the end of it. Let's find out where are we running, and is Corpus? I hope Corpus stays as part of it, because I love the city. But
well, talking about that too. I mean, with the 2021 map in play until that point, what does it mean for people that are kind of trying to figure out where they belong at this point?
Yeah.
How much uncertainty is there right now?
So it's a lot of uncertainty, especially amongst members of Congress that are running. I mean, we've already had a handful that said they won't be running. We have 2 Republicans that said they're not running, and not because the map moved away from them. Simply, it's not their area. They don't know people. They have to re-engage. Some Republican maps moved to a different map that's also Republican, but now it's 80 or 90% new constituency, and people have to go and reintroduce themselves and campaign. In my college, I'm coming back to Corpus Christi, which is my hometown, so it makes it a little bit easier than for other folks that are getting redistricted to communities they don't know, they've never lived in, never engaged. But I think people are also wanting to know, like, who's going to be my member of Congress. And I tell everyone in my district, I'm going to continue representing you till January 3rd, 2027. And if nothing changes, I'll continue to represent you after that. This isn't the first time I've been through this. I've been through another redistricting since I've started. It'll be a decade next year. And even to this day, I still take care of constituents from my very first congressional district. So I'm going to continue doing that.
So you're not worried about 2026?
I'm worried that I'm going to be campaigning in a new area, and I have to re-engage. Even Corpus Christi, that is the community where I was born and raised, I've been gone for a few decades, and I need to come back and talk to. I'm rekindling old relationships. I'm calling old friends and family members that I haven't seen in a long time, and telling them, hey, I'm back in town, and I need your help. Right? We got a tough race coming up. So we're looking forward to it. Though.
Okay, there you go. Let's talk about the border now. Do you think Washington has failed border communities?
Absolutely. I was one of the most critical Democrats in the country on how President Biden handled the border. I think much more could have been done. I think the asylum process was abused. Asylum laws are antiquated. The credible fear standard, which is a very low standard that asylum seekers use when they get to our border, probably 75 or 80% of those people that are granted, not asylum, but entry into the country, never qualify for asylum when they get to court. So that has been a failure, and us not being able to fix that. And then now the way we're responding to all the undocumented workers is pretty overbearing, right? So I think everybody's seen some of that footage with, masked ICE officers tackling people at job sites and agriculture fields, and putting their knee on their head to arrest them when they're not criminals. They're undocumented, and I think we should treat them humanely and deport them if we have to, but treat them humanely. Now, I'm 100% supportive of deporting criminals, and I think everyone should be. If you've come into this country and you've committed a crime or you have a criminal history before you got here, I think we should send you home.
Okay. A lot of people unhappy with the economy right now, and for good reason.
That's right.
It's impossible to live in a lot of ways.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see the coastal bend in 5 years with regard to that?
Well, I think we need to continue supporting our economy, growing the tourism sector. Obviously, the energy sector will continue to grow. We need to grow our Naval Air Station. We need to bring resources to the Naval Air Station to where it can bring more jobs. I know we lost some of the helicopter industry. I was looking at drones and other industry that we can bring to this place, and assure that when our veterans come home or folks from the military come home, that we have good jobs waiting for them when they get back.
Does LNG expansion still have federal support?
It does. And on both sides of the aisle. I chair the Oil and Gas Caucus for the Democratic Party, and I think we should continue to support American energy. We went from consumers to exporters, and from importers to exporters, and we've saved Europe, after the conflict with Russia. Japan still relies on our energy, South Korea relies on our energy, and a lot of our friends around the world rely on American energy, and we should continue doing it. We should do it safely and cleaner, and we do it cleaner than the rest of the world, and we should continue producing more energy.
How do you balance jobs with LNG or any other,
Yeah, well,
and with the environmental risk?
right, we need to make sure that we take care of the environment. We do everything possible to do it as most environmentally safely as possible. And there's great technology out there that continues to improve. Our pipelines today are safer than ever in our history, and they're the best natural gas pipelines in the world that we have here in this country. Desalination, we were talking about that earlier. Right now we withdraw sand and then we pour it back into the ocean after we desalinate the water. Well, in about 5 years, the technology will exist where we'll be mining that salt. We'll be getting lithium. There's certain irons in the salt that we can also bring more resources to, but we won't be depositing the salt back into the ocean. And I know that's a huge concern for a lot of people on the coastal bend, including myself, people that like to fish and like to enjoy the outdoors. We want to make sure that our bays and public waters and beaches continue to be safe places to enjoy.
There's a lot of money in that technology that you were talking about, mining, the desal.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Do you think that that would be returned back to the city, or how do you see
We
it
need to tax
happening?
it. We need to tax it. It needs to create jobs. We need to make sure that whatever industry is growing in Corpus Christi benefits the citizens of Corpus Christi. And there needs to be a balance. We definitely need to invite business and industry to come to our region and create not only jobs, but high-paying jobs. But at the same time, there's got to be a balance.
Okay. Should the federal government step in more aggressively on water planning in Texas, do you think?
I believe so. I've been watching this for about a year, even before I was redistricted here. I've brought almost $8 billion in federal resources and grants and earmarks to my congressional district since I've been in Washington. This is a project that needs federal help. Now, some of the state help that the state government is saying that they're willing to invest comes from the federal government, but I think we can make direct investments into this project to assure that American energy continues to prosper and that we do it in a safe and an environmentally safe way.
A lot of private companies are now coming in wanting to sell water to cities, to people. Are you fearful that water will become a commodity in Texas very soon?
Yeah, actually, I believe it already is a commodity. And the best place to get it is brackish water is the easiest water to clean. Rainwater is number one, brackish water is number two, seawater is number three in terms of cost, right? Cleaning brackish water or desalinating brackish water is about half the price of desalinating seawater, which we should definitely look at. But there's not an endless supply like seawater, and we need to have everything operational to assure that Corpus Christi continue to grow and prosper, that our population continue to grow, that we can invite new industry and new business to our region that's going to create good paying jobs, and we can't do it without water.
So do you have a problem with private companies selling water to people in Texas?
I think the market will dictate whatever it is, but I think Corpus can sell water to other people. If we produce water at good rates, Corpus Christi will have the ability to sell water to other communities across the state.
Okay. Come January 1, a lot of people are going to either lose their health care or pay quadruple for it.
I'm really worried about that.
A lot of people are worried about it. What do you say to your constituents that are maybe wondering how are they going to pay for their health care?
Yeah. So before I came here, I was on the phone with a Republican colleague of mine who voted against, who was against the ACA tax credit, but now they're having second thoughts. They realize that the American people will feel the pain in January and will remember in November, and they're having second thoughts because they realize that there's going to be political repercussions. As I said, the big ugly bill, I call it an ugly bill because
You would think they would have thought of that beforehand.
I know, and they did, but there was so much political pressure in some portions of the country that are against expending on anything. And I just think healthcare is the best investment you could ever make for the people of this country, and assure that under right now with ACA tax credit that was taken out and was not funded, a 60-year-old couple, family of four earning $85,000 a year will have an increase of health care insurance of $16,500. And you and I both know that they won't be able to afford it. So what happens? They go uninsured. They end up in our ERs. They end up, with cancer detected in stage 3 or 4 instead of 1 or 2 because they're not getting regular doctor visits. That can't be the United States of America.
I mean, we end up spending more money that way by fixing people that are broken
much more
than we do by paying them.
And losing lives. When that bill passed without that tax credit, we assessed that thousands of people in America would die in the next couple of years just because of that vote. Just because of that vote. Now, there's second thoughts. So I was on a Zoom yesterday. I was on a call today with a bipartisan group that wants to fix it. They realize that the American people need relief in healthcare, especially with all the inflation that they're dealing with right now. They need relief in terms of healthcare. We need to subsidize healthcare for the American people and find ways. I know that the president's talking about we're not going to pay any insurance companies. I think insurance companies take advantage of a lot of people, but we need to make sure that it's a system that works and that it's affordable, the way it is in Europe and many other advanced nations in the world. We got to take the scams out of the industry, whether it's a provider or whether it's an insurance carrier or PBMs, you know, pharmacy benefit managers. I've been fighting them since I got to Congress. Huge scams that are hurting people, hurting older people in America, and that have easy solutions, but we just need to be committed.
And unfortunately, some of these solutions are not going to be January 1. I mean, we're talking about people who are talking about it, but when you're staring down a deadline of January 1, not much you can do.
I don't know that we get it done before the end of the year. There's a push to try to get it done, and I hope we can get it done. And I think the push is because with a big bill that was passed earlier this year, as I said, there'll be $500 billion in Medicare cuts, $400 billion in Medicaid cuts, and now with the ACA credit not getting funded, it'll take out of over $1 trillion of American health care out of our system. And that will have a certain impact on results and how people live and how they you know, get cared for when they get sick.
Are you worried that rural hospitals will close because of this in our area?
I am. I'm especially worried. I have areas in my district that are 1,000 physicians short. I think we have a physician shortage here in Corpus, and people think, and that's why we wait in the waiting room 2 or 3 or 4 hours to see a doctor, because we have a shortage of physicians. We need to create an environment that nurtures more physicians willing to come and take care of people in this country. And we need to take care of our healthcare providers, but we have to have a system that works for everyone.
From your mouth. Congressman, thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.